The riffs are too repetitive, the lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides and the cover art's a mess. There's so much here to tear apart. Listen to it for a week, now that week has passed. It's Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Garrett.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Why I Hate This Album. I am one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey. With me as always, co-host extraordinaire, childish to my Gambino, Timothy Richardson. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
I'm a little nervous this week.
Oh, what's got you so concerned?
Well, Gary, my boy, the year is
Don't care for that. Don't care for that. Let's not ever say that again. Go ahead.
The year is 2021, the year where nothing at all can possibly go wrong. Americans have uniformly decided to get their COVID-19 vaccines. Life is going back to normal. So you and I, being here in Austin, the epicenter of everything being just fine, decided now's the time to do a live recording. So we're in a theater in front of a live audience who we have asked specifically to remain completely silent, no laughing, no booing, no applauding, so as not to ruin the recording.
Right. We have very, cheap equipment, and even the slightest murmur or cough or background noise could be picked up on these microphones. So we have begged this paying audience to remain completely silent.
Absolutely. But I don't like public speaking, so I'm very nervous.
I want to applaud you, Tim. You are facing the fear that you have the most. And by naming that fear, Tim, do you know what you are doing?
I am sweating profusely.
Well, yeah. This is going to be a little tricky because we do have an entire audience of people before us. We've booked this club out solid. Didn't quite sell out, which means we don't get the door deal. That's a problem. But that's okay. That's okay. We didn't announce it, advertise it at all whatsoever. Also, we've asked everyone to be quiet. But I'm going to have a hard time, Tim, staring out at, what is this, about 280 people?
Plus the interns.
Well, sure, but they didn't pay. So, in fact, they should really be paying. Anyway, getting me distracted. It's going to be hard for me to speak to you at home, the listener, while I'm looking at these blank faces, and they better stay blank, because I'm going to think they see what I see, but I'm going to have to speak to both audiences. So yes, Tim, you are sweating profusely, but more importantly, at least for now, you're conquering that fear.
All right.
I hope. Or you're just going to be a big, awful mess, and there's going to be a lot of Garrett on this episode.
Fair.
Sir, our microphones will pick that up. You cannot laugh. We can laugh. We're the hosts. Are we going to have a problem? Gino? Tim, I'm starting to wonder.
Gino with a cane, so I hope that doesn't come back to bite us in the ass.
Okay, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about a very special song. Tim, what song have we been listening to for an entire week?
Well, in the spirit of everything being fine in 2021 and no more lockdowns, we're discussing the Van Morrison penned, Eric Clapton performed Old Rich Guy COVID-19 rebellion anthem, Stand and Deliver, released December 4th, 2020. This was sort of suggested by Jesse, aka Shady Baby 1990, although he suggested...
What is that, Instagram?
Yes. He suggested we do the Van Morrison and Eric Clapton's No More Lockdown, which appears to be a Van Morrison solo song, and I cannot deal with solo Morrison this week, so we did the actual collabo between the two, Stand and Deliver. I hope you take this as a fulfillment of our contractual obligation, Jesse, and for what it's worth, this is the fourth Van Morrison penned anti-lockdown song.
Yeah, I don't know if we are fortunate or unfortunate for the mix-up, so to speak. We keyed in on that collaboration because we just cannot do Van Morrison. Well, we'll get into it.
We have to at some point. But,
well, sure. This will not be the Van Morrison in which we do. No, I can't be right. It's coming later. Whom we do. Yes. This is not the week for which unto us we do Van Morrison.
Nailed it.
Grammar. Tim, do you hate this song?
Yes, I do. This is misguided and shitty, and it's from two people that should know better, but are like trying to be edgy at 75, and it's a bad look. What about you, Gary?
This is terrible. I hate this. I really hate this.
This is not Prepisode number 32's Little Nix's coronavirus.
You know what? It really isn't.
This is Prepisode number 49's Eric Clapton's Van Morrison's Stand and Deliver.
You hear that, Clapton? You're on notice.
Yeah, worse than Little Nix by a lot.
And that guy works at a Lady Foot Locker.
That's true.
Allegedly.
He doesn't have to work there. He enjoys working there. It keeps him humble.
So, okay, you hate it. I hate it. Really unequivocally. There's no dithering this week. There's no getting anywhere. And I promise you, I will not get out of this chasm of hate. But I'm curious, Tim, prior to this week, what's your life experience with these gentlemen, and more specifically with this song?
Well, I'd never heard this song. I was aware that it existed, but I never bothered to listen to it because who could care? I have an appreciation for a selection of both of these guys' music. I really like the Yardbirds.
Yes.
I like a bunch of Cream. I like some Clapton solo stuff. I like the nigh ungoogleable band Them. I like a fair amount of Van Morrison's early-ish solo work. Although I will say, and I'm sure you'll get into this a bit more, Gary and I saw Vance at ACL 15 years ago now.
No, it cannot have been that long.
It was 2006, Garrett.
No, I refuse to believe that.
Okay, well, you're wrong then. But it was indistinguishable from the Robert Goulet SNL bit. It was, he was bebop-a-lulin', and I don't say that as a joke. He literally performed Bebop-a-Lula, She's My Baby, in a Robert Goulet voice.
God damn it.
It was not good. Also, did you know he's only 5'4"?
It seemed that way. I thought he looked like he was maybe standing on a couple of pillows. God damn it, Tim. I was really going to just try to gloss over my history with this fella, because it's almost with both of them, really. But you've got me really hooked on that.
Yeah,
brown-eyed girl.
Right, but no, it wasn't even that. It was brown-eyed girl.
Oh, God, you're right.
Like, every syllable was 40 syllables.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted your history. Anything else for these two?
Basically it. I've enjoyed some of these guys' music. I don't like them recently. Haven't heard this song. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much exact same.
All right.
With maybe one small change. For pretty much my entire life, from about age 15 on, I have no interest in Eric Clapton.
Fair.
I appreciate what he can do. If I never heard anything that he did outside of Cream, I'd be fine.
He is the sort of person that he should not be a solo artist. He should be the guitarist in a band that has...
put him in the fucking East Street Band.
No, not even that. He needs a Ginger Baker in there to be like, that guy could kick my ass at any moment. Holy shit. Because Ginger Baker's terrifying.
That's true.
He needs somebody to compete with, too. And it can't be heroin. It has to be like an actual person playing the guitar. If he's got a Hendrix or a Dwayne Allman, he's never going to hit those highs, but he's going to do better than the dreck that he does.
It's a real Jack White, Brendan Benson situation.
Yeah. Well, it's a real Brendan Benson situation. I will give you that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fun Eric Clapton story. When I was like, 10 or 11, a friend of mine's father had gotten him tickets for him, a friend, and he was going to take them to go see Eric Clapton solo acoustic. And I was the friend he chose, which is pretty cool. I'm sure they were going to be excellent seats. I can't speak to whether or not they were, because I was allowed to go. I was told I was granted permission. The week came. Monday, no problem. Tuesday, no problem. Wednesday, no problem. Made it all the way to Friday, the big night of the show. And around 5:30, about 45 minutes before they were set to come get me, I got grounded.
Is it possible this is why you don't like Eric Clapton?
No, maybe. But the two things that stand out to me about that story is, at the time I suspected, and now as an adult I am all but certain, my parents just didn't want to stay up late waiting for me to come home. And so my mom was just like, his room's a mess. That'll work, right? That's enough.
I assume they never were going to allow you to go. They wanted as short a time of you bitching about it as possible.
Very possible. Now, the other thing that only stands out to me now as an adult, as a goddamn Eric Clapton acoustic ticket, that is not a cheap thing to have. And it's 1990, I don't know, 4, 5. That motherfucker must have been furious. When I was like, oh, hey, sorry, I can't go. Oh, this is a $170 ticket, you son of a bitch. And he ended up just throwing, or I'm sure maybe he scalped it.
Maybe he scalped it and
got, what? No. What? My brother? Yeah. Why would they take my brother?
I don't know.
Also, he was a grown adult at that point.
Right.
He's a decade older than me. Anyway... Personal stories aside.
Hold on. What if your father had you grounded and then he snuck out and went?
100% possibly happened. I am going to call him when we get done with this. Oh, God, he's like, that is now my leading theory. Like, I could just see him shoving the Clapton tour shirt into a t-shirt drawer as I come bopping in, like, hi, Dad, what's going on? Oh, nothing.
He takes it out every once in a while to look at it, but can never wear it.
Just inexplicably whistling Layla the whole next day. He's doing that to fuck with me? What's the deal? Oh, it's just stuck in my head. I know what you're up to, old man. God, I didn't, but I guarantee you that's what happened. He took my ticket, Tim.
He made that little boy's Eric Clapton birthday terrible.
If at that time, almost 50-year-old man comes horning in on your birthday uninvited and then declares it his birthday and takes your presents, yeah, that's going to ruin it. Ruined all of mine.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, okay. That's your history. That's my sad childhood. Before we can talk about the song, Tim, let's learn a little bit about the man behind it. Help us understand, who is Eric Clapton and how did this debasing of a man's career come to be?
Well, Garrett, Eric Patrick Clapton, who I suggested we call Rick before we hit record, but Garrett wordlessly slapped me harder than I have ever been slapped before. It loosened one of my molars. So Eric is a British knight and also blues guy who was born in England in 1945 to a 16-year-old and a 25-year-old soldier from Canada who returned to Canada immediately after the war because his country needed him back home and not because he banged a 15-year-old, because that was fine in 1944. It could have been because he didn't want to take care of a kid.
Jesus, not off to a great start.
Nope. Anywho,
okay.
Eric grew up thinking his grandparents were his parents and that his mom was his sister, especially after his mom married a different Canadian soldier and moved to Germany, leaving Eric with his fake parents in England.
Jesus.
And then for his 13th birthday, young Eric got a crappy guitar, but he wasn't interested in it for about 2 years. When he was 15, though, he got really, really interested in it. He played it constantly. He recorded himself practicing it to listen to later. And then he went to Kingston College of Art for a year before he got kicked out for just wanting to play music, and music is not art, so can't be there.
What? That's weird.
I think it's a different kind of art. I think it's like a visual arts kind of thing. So he's a 16-year-old busker, freshly kicked out of college. He's playing in blues bands and local bars. Mm-hmm. And then in 1963, he joined the Yardbirds. And that was really successful. Clapton is pretty good at the guitar now. He's getting lots of notice. And they were so good, in fact, that they took over for the Rolling Stones at the Crawdaddy Club as the band in residence. And then they got to tour with Sonny Boy Williamson and play at the Royal Albert Hall for the first of approximately 200 times Clapton would end up playing there.
Jesus.
Clapton, the chinless fuck that he is, decided he didn't want to do the commercial pop-oriented sound that the Yardbirds wanted to transition into, so he left, but suggested Jimmy Page as a replacement. Page declined at first and suggested Jeff Beck, and then Page did eventually join and played with Beck for a while. Clapton played with a bunch of other bands. Some members of some of those other bands were killed in car wrecks, and then he joined up with Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce to form Cream in 1966, which did really well, made some really great music, and then, unfortunately, Jimi Hendrix came around. It seems like Clapton decided that Hendrix was his rival. He never mentioned this to Jimmy, who was just effortlessly Eric's better, but Cream's still very successful. They break up in 1968, mostly due to egos and drugs and alcohol and such. Clapton then befriends George Harrison. He played on While My Guitar Gently Weeps, as well as just a ton of other Harrison solo stuff, a bunch of John Lennon solo stuff. He likely fucked George Harrison's wife, Pattie Boyd. And then he formed Blind Faith, a supergroup with Ginger Baker, Steve Winwood, and some other guys, and released an album that has some really good songs on it, but also has a topless 13-year-old girl on the cover, which was unfortunate for anyone that would actually want to own the record.
Right.
That band lasted 7 months. Clapton during this time would play in the Plastic Ono Band. I think he was on Cold Turkey, but I'm not sure if that was just live or the actual recording. Then comes Derek and the Dominoes. This was Again, the internet claims it was inspired by the band's music from the Big Pink, although I've listened to Derek and the Dominoes, I've listened to the band, no idea how that relates at all. But that band was originally going to be titled Eric Clapton and Friends, and then they settled on the much better name Dell and the Dynamos.
God.
But that was dumb, so they went with Derek and the Dominoes.
He's so lucky that he's great at guitar. Because just every other instinct he has is wrong.
Absolutely. Speaking of, he's now in love with George Harrison's wife, Patty Boyd, but is getting nowhere with her, so he writes Layla and other assorted love songs mostly about her, and made the great decision of getting better guitarist Duane Allman to play on the record, possibly because he wanted someone on the record who was approximately as good at guitar as Jimi Hendrix, and because he thought that people would assume that all the guitar playing was performed by Rick. God damn it. Oh my God.
You had to know that was coming, man.
I forgot. It was written in the notes. Holy
you
crap.
should probably do a quick find and replace.
Oh my God.
Don't quit milking it.
That was a bad one, man.
Not from where I'm sitting.
The live audience looks shocked.
They know the dynamic of the show.
Well, maybe. I don't know who these people are. Are they fans? Did they just wander in here?
We didn't
from the
just
street?
paper the audience, Tim. No, these are fans.
Oh,
we
all right.
held Tim, these are the people that have found the feed.
Oh, there's way more than I thought.
It's not that hard. Find the feed.
Anyway, sad because Patty wouldn't leave George and marry him, Eric withdrew from society to use a bunch of heroin in the early 1970s. But then, in 1974, George kind of just gave Patty to Eric, and
yeah, that happened.
He stopped using heroin. I think he kind of just asked. So Eric stopped using heroin, but then started drinking a lot more.
As you do.
Yeah. Patty came to live with him and would eventually marry him in 1979, although during this period he would admit to more than a little infidelity and domestic violence. So that's a thing. Eric starts recording and touring again in the mid-1970s. In 1976, he got on stage and asked the audience, "Do we have any foreigners in the audience tonight? If so, please put up your hands. I think you should all just leave. Not just leave the hall, leave our country. I don't want you here, in the room or in my country. I think we should send them all back. Stop Britain from becoming a black colony. Get the foreigners out." Trigger warning here. Get the wogs out. Get the coons out. Keep Britain white. I used to be into dope. Now I'm into racism. It's much heavier, man.
Wait, hold on. No.
That's allegedly the quote.
Even the part about bragging about racism?
I think so, yes.
Nobody's ever said I'm into racism.
Yeah, but then he says it's much heavier, man, and that's totally Eric Clapton.
Oh, it's definitely in his patois.
Yeah.
God damn it.
So he was a weird right-wing monster all the way back then. The signs have been there the whole time.
I think it's just his instinct is always whatever the worst is.
Absolutely. Speaking of, he continued to be successful into the 1980s, but also decided to deepen his commitment to Christianity.
Oh, good. I did feel like something was missing. We had the racism. We had the peculiar, self-aggrandizing, amoralistic behavior. But where's the good in it all? Tim, it's blowing my mind right now that Eric Clapton and Richard Nixon would have been buds. Or possibly Richard Nixon would have gone back to the White House to talk to Kissinger and just been like, I don't know about that guy. He's got some pretty wild ideas. What was that thing about being into racism?
Yeah, super into racism. After he deepens his commitment to Christianity, he goes to rehab for alcohol several times. He makes some more albums, and then his son falls out of a 53rd floor window in a New York City apartment building. Now, that moment was, of course, memorialized in his song Tears in Heaven, which he co-wrote with Will Jennings, the guy that wrote Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On, and he would end up winning 6 Grammys for the single and the unplugged album it was on. After his son died, Eric and his wife also went away to a little country house they had for a while, and sorry, this is ridiculous. They went away to a little country house that they had for a while where she... Hold on. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the plot to Antichrist, because this is the plot to Antichrist.
I had a feeling that's what was happening. I was waiting for the talking fox.
I'm going to get there, don't worry. Sorry. Okay. All right. I can do this. Okay. So they went away to this country house for a while, and his wife ended up just bashing his genitals in with a big rock after a fox told them. know. Anyway, I might be able to say it might be better with the scripts. I was going to do that so seamlessly, too. Anyway, so they went away to the country with a...
I'm going to throw up.
With a big
We're
rock.
gonna keep.
All right.
We're gonna keep all that in.
We'll fix this part. With a big rock after a fox told them that chaos reigns. And that trip was, of course, memorialized in Lars von Trier's 2009 film Antichrist, which you should not watch.
Right. And we're just going to go ahead and say that that's all very alleged. We don't know that to be true. This is poorly researched.
You're right. Eric Clapton has continued to have low-key, although chinless success ever since. He released his 24th studio album, Happy Xmas, a blues Christmas song album in 2018. And then in November 2020, Clapton and Van Morrison collaborated on an anti-mask, anti-lockdown single, Stand and Deliver. The profits of this song will be donated to Morrison's Lockdown Financial Hardship Fund. More on that later. And Morrison's stance on this song, it's been described as basically just a smear on all those involved in public health, giving comfort and aid to conspiracy theorists.
Great.
And I was going to do a full history of Van Morrison at this point, but I will save that for when we definitely do a full episode or Prepisode focused on that jackass.
Right. Wow. Great history, Tim.
You really enjoyed the genital smashing.
Don't get me started again.
We should also mention that this, again, is one of 4 Van Morrison anti-lockdown songs. He has another, if I may read just a few lyrics from a different song.
From the song we didn't pick.
Right, No More Lockdowns. Because I need to truly understand this song, you need to know this is not a one-off. This is a theme with this guy.
He deeply believes it.
Yeah, his other song, No More Lockdowns, goes, no more lockdown, no more government overreach, no more fascist police disturbing our peace, no more taking our freedoms and our God-given rights, pretending it's for our safety when really it's to enslave. Who's running our country? Who's running our world? Examine it closely and watch it unfurl. No more lockdown, no more threats, no more Imperial College scientists making up crooked facts. He's really crazy and also only 5'4".
That is a little man.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being that. I like to think that, I have nothing to fear from Van Morrison.
Well, you don't.
Right.
I mean, you have something to fear from, what I assume is a roving band of security that he has, but only if you get near him. I don't think he's crazy enough to, send a wet team here to wipe us out.
Oh,
good luck doing it. We have decoy apartments and guns on turrets, so.
Yeah.
I mean, not currently. We are, sir, do not get up. We asked if you had to go to the restroom before we started. Yeah. Our microphones are sensitive. Use the diaper.
Yeah, they've all been provided with diapers.
Yeah, they're underneath every one of your seats. Our warm-up guy should have gone over this.
Right.
Brad. Did Brad do warm-up? Did
I heard screaming.
Brad? I think we left Brad.
Okay. Well, I don't know who was screaming.
Nobody did warm-up. Oh, maybe we didn't burn him. Maybe we brought him. That boy loves screaming. Not a great audience warm-up. Also, I don't know why we had to warm up an audience that is not allowed to speak or laugh. Sir, do not laugh.
All right, let's hear some of this masterpiece.
You've let them put the fear on you.
Well, that's
unfortunate is the word you're looking for.
Well, yes. Unfortunate's the right word. Let's address the music first. It is a Viagra commercial.
Yeah, it's so
non-specific blues.
Right. There's nothing wrong with Clapton's Unplugged album. It's one of the best albums ever, or one of the best-selling albums ever released.
Sure.
There's plenty to like on it. This is the lame old guy version of that, right? It's very old man generic blues. It's passable, but it kind of sounds like a first draft. This sounds like something that Vance and Eric, they kind of improv. This is their little jam. They were bored together and it should have probably stayed in somebody's living room.
Yeah, it seems like some, pretty generic chord changes and you know what? I don't even want to get that specific. Let me back up. Because I'm not a musician. I have a couple of guitars. I play both of them very poorly. One of them was retrieved from a garbage can by Tim.
You're
thank
welcome,
you, Tim.
By the way.
I just said thank you. What?
Carry on.
You're just looking at me like I didn't say thank you. Like
I was talking
you have a
over
very-
you, so I'm not 100% sure what you said.
Well, I said thank you, but you continued on with your indignance. Now I rescind my thank you.
Fair.
Back to the story at hand. Eric Clapton's a phenomenal guitar player. Don't want anyone to think that that I'm denying that.
Sure.
That's not what I'm saying.
But-
I don't
hold
like
on, hold
Eric
on.
Clapton.
Hold on. While we're on how good a guitar player he is, we should note, in case he's listening, never was as good as Jimi Hendrix, never was as good as Duane Allman.
Oh, not even close. He might as well be playing a child's ukulele.
Ooh, I'd
next to
listen
them.
to that.
Yeah, I would too. Anyway, not why we're here. My point is, and you said it, Tim, this is just non-specific generic blues. Even if it's played, it's probably one of those things that is, if you saw the notes written out, somebody who's very good at music would be like, oh, this is very complicated. Great, good on you. It sounds like crap. For bits on the show, Tim, occasionally I go out to the internet and I search for digital rights free music. And then I use that music to create any number of things. Corn whiskey commercials,
Sure.
excuse me.
You're thinking of Slipknot, but also soundscapes.
Right. Yeah, to create soundscapes. Right. Slipknot whiskey, Morgan Freeman talking about my first time, whatever. This sounds like that. I would type in blues, digital rights free music.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And this will come up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the sound. And then, of course, you have Eric Clapton's continually mediocre voice, right?
Yeah, he really shouldn't be the front man.
I'll give him a compliment here, Tim. He is a few degrees shy of Bob Dylan live circa 2014.
Yeah, that wasn't great. That made me
No.
sad.
Well, it also didn't help that leading up to that was curiously one of the greatest and weirdest concerts we'd ever seen.
That's true. Featured John Lennon's son playing John Lennon songs for some reason.
With Beck and Wilco as the backing band.
Yeah.
Where you belong, Wilco. You're all very competent, but shh, back up, Beck. Anyway, back to the task at hand. So yes, mediocre, gravelly, old guy blues voice, very generic sounding, if technically impressive, and I'm not sure it is, guitar playing. And that brings us to the words.
Yes, because
Right?
lyrically, this is something else altogether. This is irresponsible.
Right. And I don't know if this is a compliment or an insult. It's irresponsible and mildly, well, not mildly, and very inappropriate for the times, but also done so in the tamest, most shaking my fist at the sun for being so bright kind of way.
This is the guy that goes into the store and wears a mask and says nothing and then complains about it to his wife on the way out.
Yes, but put in song form.
Right, of course.
Who was the guy that used to be at the end of 60 Minutes and be like, you know what I don't like about buttons?
Oh, Andy Rooney.
Yeah, this is an Andy Rooney anthem, only it's, kind of got a ultra conservative bent to it.
Yeah. The other problem is it's very important who these guys are.
Sure.
Because,
yeah, if this is just Joe Schmo, we can all just easily ignore it.
yeah, or even if this is a struggling musician who's thrown everything they have into live shows, that's the way they make their living, is traveling around. Like, if this was a stand-up comedian, right? You got
Sure.
more of a point, but these guys are fucking rich. Rich as
beyond
balls.
rich.
Yeah.
But you raise an interesting point, Tim. Allow me to play devil's advocate because we want to be fair on this show, if nothing else. We don't just go around lobbing accusations. It's fair to say, as prominent musicians with a platform, it is important to speak out about musicians who, as you just said, make their living from live performance. Nothing wrong with that, right?
Sure.
However, for my money, all things being equal, if I'm in that position, let's pretend for a minute I'm Eric Clapton, or I guess really, let's pretend I'm Van Morrison. I've written this crazy song. Perhaps you could write a song in which you say like, hey, you can't shut everything down and then give us like no alternatives. Write a song about like, you won't give us any money. You won't let us do any jobs. I can't do the thing that I was like born to, or, that I've spent my life trying to do. That's my complaint. And that makes total sense.
Sort of. Because
if you're going to write this song.
Well, sure. But apparently that some of this money is going to this lockdown financial hardship fund, which is...
That's great.
It's to help musicians that aren't making money due to lockdown measures. Again, it's unclear if perhaps he's doing some sort of weird Trumpian thing and he's like, well, I'm not making any money, so this just donate advocating this to myself.
Well, sure. There's always a chance with
right.
any.
But we're not accusing him of that. But
no, let's assume zero ill intent. All of the money they raise through this makes it to this fund, which supports artists that can't work because of lockdown.
Okay, here's how you do that better. They have good songs. Both of these people have good songs. If you want to do a Van Morrison, Clapton, let's say you do, Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson used to do those shows where they would just get on stage like a solo acoustic thing, and Johnny Cash plays a song and Willie Nelson watches, and then vice versa.
Yeah, what a great show.
Right. Just do live stream charity concerts and donate the proceeds to this lockdown financial hardship fund or COVID research or something like that. Like that could be their contribution. You don't need to make
it's not going to COVID research.
Well, absolutely.
You better be goddamn sure.
We'll get into that. But my point is, if you want to raise money, there's classic songs that people like and would, pay to see a live stream of probably. And then also those old songs don't have a bunch of crazy lies in them. So because late night shows manage to put on 4 shows a week still, right? You can do a streaming version of this. It requires more of you, but it could be done.
Or I'll make it even easier. I'm Van Morrison, I'm Eric Clapton. Stands to reason there's a couple of versions of hits of mine that I've never released.
Absolutely.
Hop on the old iTunes or Spotify or wherever the fuck people actually buy music from anymore. Best Buy? I don't think that's it.
I think they sell just washing machines now.
However people buy music, release a version of that. Here's a version of Layla that I played on the piano that no one's ever heard because I'm sure he's got one. And that's the special track everyone buys to support, COVID research or this foundation. I like the concept of what he's trying to do. It's the execution I have a huge problem with.
Well, you like one of the two concepts because one of the concepts is helping musicians. The other is spreading weird conspiracy theories.
Well, that's my issue with the execution.
Oh, okay. Let's get into the lyrics.
Good. Okay. I mean, I guess it's not for us to solve, but I don't want to downplay that there is a problem when you tell people like, hey, the one thing that you do to earn money, you can't do it. Good luck.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's a problem.
Sure. And that's the other thing. Of all the people, these two are probably the worst messenger. Because,
well, sure.
These are two ridiculously rich old guys. Their best days are well behind them. Eric is worth $250 million. Vance is worth $90 million. These guys should kind of welcome the end of their touring because, there'll be no more racist slip-ups on stage. But
they're not slip-ups.
I know. We've seen Van Morrison. I personally would have much better memories of his music if I hadn't heard him do Brown Eyed Girl and Bebop Alula live.
Yeah.
And also, dude, this is a call to action for anti-vaxxers and lunatics that refer to themselves as true patriots. And it's unclear what country they're patriots for because they're, Irish and British. And here's the other thing. We'll get into the lyrics, but I don't think anyone actually died from this song. As a result,
Yeah, probably not.
That's unrealistic to say. I'm not claiming they killed somebody with this song. That's stupid. But they're not giving good advice, right?
No.
Because,
Boy, you've really taken this to heart this week, Tim.
Yeah, I hate it so much. Because how embarrassing. As somebody who will die in an Australian desert wasteland, high as shit on silver spray paint, and, obviously venture on to glorious Valhalla, assuming, of course, somebody witnesses me, all glory to the Lacostier who sits atop the Citadel, obviously. How embarrassing would it be to have to tell your Valhallian roommate you died because you took medical advice from that guy that's probably still 62% heroin from something he did in the 1970s, or Van Morrison?
Well, you lost me a little bit in the analogy, but I think I get what you're saying. It'd be a shame if Van Morrison murdered you.
Yes, exactly. Because again, he's 5'4". That's embarrassing.
Sure. It is.
Yeah. But again, it's really hard to be sympathetic to these two assholes. I understand the money might be going to a good cause, but like you said, the execution is them complaining about it personally to them. There are millions and millions of people the lockdown has genuinely hurt. People who don't have $250 million to make just money angels in their living room with. These two complaining about how annoyed they are doesn't represent those people. And also, musicians aside, there are way more people the lockdown has genuinely helped because they didn't die.
Right.
Honestly, I think the only person that has a worse look than this might be Gwyneth Paltrow, who recently announced that she broke down and actually ate some bread during the lockdown.
Huh? What does that mean?
That was her low point, man.
What is that?
The shame, Garrett. The shame of having broken down and eaten bread.
Was it to comfort her?
I don't know.
Comfort? I eat a tremendous amount of bread daily.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. It's second only to meat in your diet.
Yeah, it's a toss-up some days with cheese, and then way down on the list, vegetables. But I just don't understand why most people don't make half a loaf of garlic bread with every meal.
Or eat just blocks of cheese like some sort of Charlie.
I've asked you to not refer to me as Charlie.
Anyway, we should get into the lyrics. I apologize. I've gotten us way off track talking about how I'm going to die.
Yeah, Valhalla and such. The song opens, stand and deliver. You let them put the fear on you. Stand and deliver. But not a word you heard was true. And we should probably mention that at this point, Eric Clapton is starting to sound quite a bit like Randy Newman. So it's a little bit more like stand and deliver.
That's true. More importantly, though, he's blaming the listener. Dude, you pansy. You let him trick you.
You let him scare you inside.
Yeah. Then everything they're telling you is a lie. So smear against science and medicine, and also you should be ashamed of yourself, you coward.
I just like the confidence with which a statement such as, but not a word you heard was true, as though, well, the facts are it, everybody. Turns out that whole lockdown was nonsense, coronavirus not real.
Yep.
Like, nope, the opposite happened. Or at least here, we're speaking from a very American viewpoint where, what is it? I don't even know. 500,000 people are dead?
I don't know.
Something like that?
Our lab recently wrote a paper on COVID.
Oh. Okay. Was it about how considerably less Americans probably could have had to die if not for just like some very minor advice?
No, he's on neurologic findings. I don't think you were on that one. But the point is, it was February data, so like 300,000 people at that point. But a lot.
Yeah. Too many, maybe.
Currently, India is like 1 million a day.
Yeah,
that's probably
it's
not
crazy.
Right. It's so many. Anyway, starting off with nonsense lies and shaming the listener.
Right. Then it goes on, but if there's nothing you can say, there may be nothing you can do. Do you want to be a free man or do you want to be a slave? Do you want to be a free man or do you want to be a slave? Do you want to wear these chains until you're lying in the grave? All right,
let's stop there.
So I want to be fair. This is still bad songwriting, but I get what they're trying to say. If you're not allowed to perform a song and that song is to protest a government, then how do you inspire change through that song if you're not allowed to perform it? However, it is not 1961, so anybody with a phone, and again, you guys have collectively, I don't know, all the money, the entire economy of Sweden.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 2 phones.
Oh, at least 2 phones too. But more importantly, the ability to buy a considerable amount of Apple.
Yeah, so they or extra phones. Right, gotcha.
Yes, they could buy a lot of phones. Anyway, you could either just release a song in which you protest even though it's based on lies, or it also negates the fact that, like, no one's saying you can't perform because your words are harmful. They're saying you can't perform live right now for this stretch of time because people are dumb and they will come and die.
Right. Yeah, this is rich assholes assuring you the entire planet quarantining is akin to slavery.
It's a very elitist perspective saying, look, I'm fine. All my friends are fine. We all have access to a level of healthcare that we just assume everybody does, because why would we know any different? I don't understand what the big deal is. I go everywhere I want to go, and granted, I have an entire team of people that pick up, put down, and touch everything for me.
Yeah.
But I don't have to worry about it.
And a lot of them seem to have died recently, but it's probably coincidence.
Right about the time that ragtime piano really kicks in and they start repeating, do you want to be a free man or do you want to be a slave? I had to ask. I understand the theme of the song, Tim. I think we all get it. But if this is your theme, okay, fine. This is your way to raise money. You're protesting something. At least be coherent. Who are they claiming to be a slave of?
The government.
How? How are they enslaving people?
Because they can't
What are
leave
they
their
getting
house?
from people for nothing?
I think maybe they're just in prison. I don't know.
Right, because there's no slavery. Slavery implies you do things for me for nothing. I'm very familiar with the...
I get it. They're mind slaves, man, because they're doing what the government says. They're staying home. They don't even have to wear chains anymore, man, because they're already in their mind.
Their mind chains?
Ooh, yeah, I like that. You know what?
Mate, what if we made it, do you want to wear these mind chains? No.
It's a little spinal tappy for me.
Until you're laying in your mind grave. You can't just keep putting mind in everything.
I wish they would. I don't want to be a mines popper, and I don't want to be a mines prince. I don't want to be a popper, and I don't want to be a prince. I just want to do my job playing the blues for my friends. He still could. Neil Young has done so much. He's released so many albums. He's got this gigantic list of archives. He released an EP of him and a video of him doing a concert for chickens. And it was great.
It has created, I read multiple articles recently. There's this weird new Neil Young resurgence with new fans who just discovered him during the pandemic performing to chickens. And they're like, who's this sweet old man?
Oh, these songs are great.
Yeah, they're like, does he have anything else?
Good news, friends. 1962 to now.
Well, with a couple of road bumps.
Well, I mean, no one wants trans because nobody likes that album.
Whatever, bro. We are a trans house.
Yeah, but my point is, he could play the blues for his friends. He could have them come over if that's what he wants. He could play the blues for an audience. He could, put shit up on YouTube. I know he has the resources to do it. I know
we've got at least 2 phones.
Right.
Any number of things to be more productive than shouting into the wind.
Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, the Constitution, what's it worth? What country is he in?
Like, I had to do some social studies. I had to find a local 4th grader and steal his backpack.
Yeah, you did do that. You pushed me down.
Well, then I turned to the index, looked up Magna Carta, and turns out, Tim, it is outlining the rules to protect against arbitrary authority of a despot, which again, I have to point out, you have a monarchy, you fools.
Yeah, presumably he's sitting in England, but he's talking about the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. I feel like this song, based on those 5 words there, is directed at right-wing lunatics in the U.S.
Who else is buying this?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. Boy, we're getting a little political this week, Tim. I will say, if I were to find myself moseying past a Keep America Awesome rally, and those happen here in Austin more than you'd guess, and somebody had either a sign or a chant calling out the protections of the Magna Carta, I'm going to pause and at least listen for a second. That's an interesting protester.
Sure, yeah, he's talking about 1215, man.
Yeah, that's a guy that might have some very specific ideas, and we need to either listen or keep an eye on him.
Right. Is he dressed as a knight?
Oh, well, that's going to disqualify you from any credibility immediately. Maybe. But if he's got like a sword because and he corners you, you should listen. But last time we were at Medieval Times, I'm standing there at the urinal, and who moseys on up but the Green Knight, and he's going on and on about some electric car and some genius foreign fellow with a funny accent. I wrote him off. Next thing you know, boom, Tesla could have been a millionaire. So yes, you're right.
I'm not right, because you were correct in your instinct to write off the Green Knight, because in between shows, that guy does nothing but a whole big handful of cocaine, and he just yammers on about God knows what.
Sure. I guess I probably shouldn't have left that out of the story. Right. He was doing fistfuls of cocaine.
Right, because a couple weeks before that, I was in a very similar situation, and I started growing my own mushrooms, and I poisoned myself. All on his advice. Guy doesn't know anything about which mushrooms are not poisonous. Very diverse interests, though.
Yeah, that guy's all over the place. Yeah. Financial advice, horticulture.
Yeah, anyway.
Fascinating. Botany.
Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, the Constitution, what's it worth? You know they're going to grind us down until it really hurts. Is this a sovereign nation or just a police state? You better look out, people.
Again, hold on. I gotta ask. What does he mean, sovereign nation? Is this an outside body?
Yeah. The implication there to me is like the WHO is running our laws, man.
Right, but they're not.
No, of course not. Of course not. We should have prefaced this by saying Van Morrison and Eric Clapton are not well read.
No, well, shock of the century. But they got their Brexit. They're Brexited.
Yeah.
No one's telling them what to do. That actually really would have changed everything if they were still part of the EU and they were somehow beholden to some sort of EU
Brussels.
Got to do what Brussels says. I can't even find that on a map.
No, you can't. But you are terrible at geography.
Shh. Find the nation state. Shut up. Right. We are all over the map today. But yeah, let's say I agree with you for a moment. Do you think that an outside power told you that the UK needed to lock down?
Maybe he's talking about the sovereign citizen movement in the U.S.
This does seem to be squarely focused at the U.S.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry, sovereign citizen?
Or are you not familiar
Every
with
person's
this?
their own nation?
Yeah. It's essentially just when you're getting arrested, you just scream, I'm a sovereign citizen, your laws don't apply to me. And you still get arrested, roughed up more than you would have if you weren't screaming that. But it's hilarious. Google sovereign citizen gets arrested on YouTube. Yeah, it's people that they're just like, yeah, no. I have declared myself apart from this nation. Your laws don't apply to me. And people are like hell they don't.
All right, the song goes on. You better look out, people, before it gets too late. You want to be your own driver or keep on flogging a dead horse? You want to be your own driver or keep on flogging a dead horse? You want to make it better or do you want to make it worse?
They're making
This
it
is
worse.
Just old man speak. I like the you better look out, people, before it gets too late. Like this is the start. First they lock you in their houses, next they're going to burn your books, and then no more violins. They're coming for your horses, Tim. Or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently, because the song ends with stand and deliver, Dick Turpin wore a mask too. I obviously had to Google who Dick Turpin was.
Yeah.
I know you specifically didn't, but he was a horse thief in the 1700s in England who was hung. I don't
yes.
know how that
And
relates.
well, he would have been entirely forgotten, Tim, but then he was repopularized by, of course, Harrison Ainsworth's popular 1834 novel Rookwood.
And again, it's remarkable because I know for a fact you looked none of this up. Continue.
Of course not. This is top of mind knowledge. Everybody knows this. In Rookwood, of course, Mr. Turpin is sort of characterized as a Robin Hood, or maybe not quite even as respectable. Maybe more of a Billy the Kid, if you will, of the England. That's what you call it. Yeah, more of an English Billy the Kid. So he wore a mask. He stole a horse. He went on a famous ride. Most of it's all made up.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Paul Revere.
Mormonism.
And Paul Revere.
Oh, right. Did the no lanterns, right?
Yeah, never existed.
He wasn't even a person?
Oh, no.
No, really?
No, never existed. Entire thing was completely made up.
You are blowing my mind. I assumed he was at least a person, like it was kind of a Jesus thing, like he didn't do any of the fish stuff, but like...
How dare you, sir? Jesus very much was a real person.
Whatever, bro. Let's put him on the folk hero Mount Rushmore next to your guy, Paul Revere, and who was the guy with the big blue ox? Paul Bunyan. Yeah. Oh, and Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny Appleseed was real too. Where do you think apple trees come from?
Actually, Johnny Appleseed was real.
Yeah.
I think he might have been banging women. Like, that's the seed he was planting, though.
Oh,
we need to Google that.
Yeah.
Gino, mark the time. Let's find out what was going on with Johnny Appleseed.
And just for the record, Paul Revere, very much a real person.
Okay, I'm glad. All right, Tim, that brings us to the end of the song. Of course, the music video is non-existent because that would just be incredibly sad. So we get to ask, Tim, how'd this do?
Unclear, but poorly.
What do people think of it?
We do have 32 total Amazon reviews, 4.5 out of 5 stars on average, 73% 5-star, 2% 1-star. The first one is by Texas Mama. It's called Election and COVID Chaos Blues. Texas Mama writes, raw, honest, and blunt. Doesn't get any better than this. Applies to the election mess, too. Clapton genius and great keyboard, too. This should be played nonstop in every government building. Thank you, EC and Van. 5 out of 5 stars.
That person is terrifying.
I've got more of them, Garrett.
That is a weird... Like, all you have to do is replace Eric Clapton, Van Morrison song with, like, Wagner, and that person's a Nazi.
Legionnaire wrote or titled his review, awesome. Telling it like it is as the New World Order tries to take over the world. 5 out of 5 stars.
Oh my God. Now we're invoking the New World Order. Free my camp!
D. Durkin titled his review, Self-Serving Cowards Who Have Lost Their Way.
Ooh, I like this guy.
There are over 300,000 dead people in the U.S. who won't be listening to this song. Van and Eric should think about what they're doing. They are millionaires who are complaining about lockdowns. How about doing a few remote concerts? Oh, this is what I said.
I was going to say, did you write this?
I didn't. A few remote concerts to benefit working people and a few protest songs aimed at the Trumps of the world who deny science and reality. Think about what you are you're doing and don't come up with simplistic tunes that will be forgotten pretty quickly. I, for one, would never purchase something like this. I donate to real charities. 1 out of 5 stars.
That's a weird brag at the end.
Yep, Gromit wrote, titled his review, Dig Deeper. Great songs by 2 legends of our time. We're at the breaking point. And then the second part of his review is addressed to D. Durkin, the guy from the previous review.
Great.
The dead are mostly nursing home deaths, and they aren't listening to music hardly at all. They watch TV all day, every day. I know. I'm one of their nurses. 5 out of 5 stars.
They think that out of 300,000 people, most of them were in nursing homes, which would be crippling for the nursing home industry. But let's pretend they're right for just a moment. Their argument is, yeah, but they're old, so fuck them.
Yeah, I think so. Well,
why do we live with a bunch of... So, okay, put another way, Tim, just for giggles, would you maybe say that group of people are, I don't know, what's the opposite of what's the opposite of desirable?
Expendable.
I don't know, let's call them like undesirables.
Oh, I like where you're going.
And so as long as we exterminate, whether naturally or whatever, the undesirables, it's cool.
Yes.
And just real quick, just out of curiosity, do you have any idea who gets to determine who's on the undesirable list?
I assume it's Gromit.
Gromit from Wallace and Gromit?
No, the person that wrote this review.
Oh, I see. Well, I hope not, because they take the time to write anonymous reviews about Stand and Deliver on Amazon.
That's fair.
They make poor choices.
Yes. The only other thing I will say, I have no other reviews, mostly because the YouTube comments were turned off.
That says it all.
Yep.
Great reviews, Tim. Who's this for?
I think the alt-right in the United States.
I was just going to say America.
Yeah.
Final thoughts? Anything we didn't say about it?
I would just like to echo Northern Ireland's Health Minister Robin Swan, who took the time to comment on this, saying dangerous. But not in like a cool, hip way. It's just kind of dangerous.
Right. For my final thoughts, allow me to go out with a quote from Eric Clapton. Eric said, "There are many of us who support Van in his endeavors to save live music. He is an inspiration. We must stand up and be counted because we need to find a way out of this mess. The alternative is not worth thinking about. Live music might never recover." Untrue.
If that entire quote was about we need to like dedicate money to science, we need to solve COVID, we need to dig our way out of this horrific mess, that's a fine quote. But it just ends with, live music, which again, I miss terribly.
Oh, yeah. It's like the number one thing Tim and I do.
Yeah, but,
Not right now.
Right.
Now, I get it. You can't just tell people they can't perform and give them no alternatives. You got to either give them some cash or say, hey, how about this job for a little bit?
Maybe they could use their sort of live streaming thing, and some of these artists that they're giving money to, they could host, like, it could be Eric Clapton presents this smaller band, and they could do a live stream, and then people would buy their music because they're Eric Clapton approved, and then they wouldn't need to have people donate money by buying this shitty song.
Shut up with your ideas.
Okay.
They're good.
Fair enough. Garrett, do you hate this song still?
Yes. Still terrible. Tim, how about you? Okay.
Same here. I hate this.
Fantastic. That brings us to a very special listener mail this week, folks. This is going to be quite a listener mail for Tim and I both. Tim, would you like to go first or would you like me to?
You can go first this week.
Alrighty. My email this week, Tim, I'm going to not use this gentleman's full name. You'll understand why in a moment. He did give me the go-ahead to read this email on the Prepisode, but I still, in case he's got any friends or family that listen, we'll just use a first initial. We'll call him D.
Oh, dear.
D's email is titled Ray J episode. D writes, "Greetings to you both. I just finished listening to your Ray J episode, and it was great as usual. Thank you, D. During it, you told listeners to send in any stories about shoving all your genitals up in them guts.
Oh, my God.
And have I got a story for you boys. Back in my high school days, I was at a party, and there was a girl there. We'll call her Tamantha. That I had a thing for. To make a long story short, after many adult beverages, me and her finally worked our way towards each other. Weird. We both ended up in a room and adult activities began. In parentheses, he has, by the way, I hit it first. During these activities, I ended up slipping and both my penis and testicles were thusly slammed all the way up in dem guts. Jesus, man.
Jesus.
Oddly enough, she seemed to enjoy this, which deeply disturbed disturbed me. I then got up, got out, got dressed, and left. That's my story. Keep up the good job, guys. D.
Did it hurt horribly?
Well, Tim, I'm so glad that you ask, because I couldn't, in good conscience, read this email without following up, because I knew you'd have the same questions I did. So, without reading my email back to D, I'm only going to read his response to me and my questions. D writes, "Hey Garrett, and possibly Tim, I would love it if you could share this on a Prepisode." God damn it, D. As for the questions, did it fit? Kinda. I was a little freaked out, so I didn't pay that much attention to, like how far, but to my recollection, all was in quite a bit. Did I acknowledge it? I did.
This story, D, here, free advice. Like, these are the questions that people want to know about this story. This story. Okay, carry on. I don't want to give you advice on how to tell your story, but these are the things that we want to know.
Yeah. Okay. Did I acknowledge it? I did. I remember mumbling an apology. Did I get the hell out of there? You, sir, are damn right. I quickly got dressed and left the said damsel in bed unfulfilled. It was too weird for me. I was kind of like Tim during that moment of orgasm, screaming and not knowing what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Yours truly, D.
Fantastic.
So wow. Yeah. Just what a great email, D. Feel free to follow up if you'd like me to announce your name, if you're proud of this story. It's a good story.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything wrong. I want to say that. And you were right to leave. Although, to be honest, Tim, maybe it's my age. I've had enough sexual experience. Things happen. There's gonna be noises and sounds and liquids and all sorts of various things during the sexual intercourse. Stuff's gonna happen. Things are gonna go in places. You just gotta,
I am shocked to know how bohemian you are about this whole thing. I pleased. I'll say that.
Well, Tim, you cannot have a worldwide reputation for having a buck wild fuck style without having a few tricks in the bag, if you know what I mean. Anyway, D, great email. Tim, tough to top this week. Maybe the worst week ever to ask me to go first, but hey, feel free to try. What's your email this week?
Well, I don't have an email. Instead of single...
that is not a great start. I gotta tell you, I'm a little disappointed.
So what I've done, I went back through a series of YouTube comments that a single person has left. And that person is Jessica Stadel, probably Stadel.
Probably
Jessica, we'll say it's Jessica. So I think Jessica started listening to the show fairly recently. It looks like started commenting in 2021, but basically we got a flurry of comments on old episodes. And for the most part, I just have no idea what the context is. I have no idea what she's referencing. Because Garrett has made clear, we do in fact shred it and burn it after each recording. So this is basically like her own private game of in conversation, and it's my favorite thing. So what I've done is I've gone and I've collected a dozen or so one sentence or short phrase YouTube comments. I can tell you the episode and then I can read them without context, just as Jessica presumably intended.
Fantastic. If I may, Tim, let's make a bit of a game of it. Where you don't know what she's talking about, I will use my trademark theories of deduction to provide a context, whether I remember it or not.
Okay, fair enough. The first couple...
Before we start, let's be really clear, because obviously Jessica's listening. Thank you. Jessica, this is a celebration of you and your comments in our YouTube. We hope that you take this as praise.
Yeah, 100%. Because these are my favorite comments, because I will look back at like the Smash Mouth episode. I have no idea anything we said on any of those. And so there's just randomly these comments and I just, okay, I don't know, but they're very funny.
It's like having somebody tell a story about you back to you and you have no recollection of it.
Right.
Like,
so back in Garrett's drinking days.
Jesus. Yes.
The first one from Alice Cooper. I've never heard Doug Stanhope reference before. This podcast is my new favorite thing.
Okay.
Miley Cyrus, one can be deemed Hemsworthy or the Hemsworst. That's a little update to our Hemsworthy phrasing. Matchbox 20, my buck style is fuck wild. feel like that relates to something you were just talking about. The Little Pump episode. Every time Tim or Garrett calls cocaine, my eye twitches. Apparently we say cocaine a bunch.
Almost certain I said cocaine in this episode earlier today. Fistfuls of cocaine were said.
It's true. The Brad Paisley episode that's time-stamped 38 minutes. Is that why you don't have Texas accents?
Maybe.
Good. All right. Keith Urban. Sorry, kiddo. That train has sailed.
Oh, Keith, I'm going to be honest, Tim. I was going to provide a context here. I don't remember doing Keith Urban.
The song Female.
Oh, now I remember Keith Urban. She's referencing that train has sailed. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Ah, good ear, Jessica, good ear. Yes, that train has sailed.
Bloodhound Gang. Tim is a huge sucker.
Well, yeah, Tim, no context needed. I present you and your life.
The Fray.
Huge sucker.
Tim is a sad sucker.
Once again, the audience has spoken. You are a world-renowned sucker. As my fuck style is world-renowned, and that's not me saying that, other people have said it, you are a world-renowned sucker.
Fair enough.
Here's the good news, Tim. Everybody likes a sucker. You know why? Non-threatening.
Dashboard Confessional. Come on down to Carrabba's. It might be okay. That's the shirt.
I do remember that, actually. That used to be my fancy, that was my, damn, I really like you, girl. I'm going to take you to Carrabba's.
The WAP episode, I react to Garrett's whispered, find the feed. The way Garrett responds to Tim's whispered, fucked me. And it needs to stop.
Oh, well, sorry, Jessica. That's a trademark of the show now.
Yep.
Also, find it.
Rolling Stone, Stray Cat Blues. Little Richard was on the 100th episode of Baywatch.
That has to be you.
I think that's just information for us.
Oh, thank you.
Katy Perry's You're So Gay. Doll makers are always going to go with smooth genitalia. Accurate gonads will cost extra in the manufacturing process.
I mean, that's simple economics.
Yeah, that's fair. Randy Savage. Tim is not a sucker. He is a monster. Hates the Muppets? What's it like to be a garbage person? Smiley face.
Accurate.
Red Hot Chili Peppers, 1 Hot Minute. Tim is right.
I remember you having a lot of theories about, Jafar. What's his name?
He is Jafar. That's probably what it was. He looks like Jafar.
He does.
Gwen Stefani, track number 10 is about Jeremy Renner's Medicine, even though his song wouldn't come out until years later.
Wow, I like that prediction. I can't remember that song. I thought that's not the MLK one, is it?
Oh God, I hope it is. Far weirder if it is. The first Bieber episode, I listened to this podcast because I'm dope and I do dope shit. I think that's a Kanye quote.
Yeah, that's definitely a Kanye quote.
System of a Down, I think giraffes are more famous than horses for their long necks. Horses are known for their long faces. What?
That doesn't mean a horse doesn't have a long neck. It's a long neck.
It's true. I know them more for their gigantic human-like teeth.
Sure, absolutely.
Last one, Smash Mouth. This is episode 5, I believe.
God.
The hole in the ozone layer was first identified in 1985.
Okay.
That's my favorite comment. That's my favorite comment we've ever gotten on a YouTube, because I have no idea what it means. Well, I know what it means. I don't know why it's there, but it's great.
That song, one of the songs has a line about the ozone layer, right?
I don't know.
Is this Smash
Are you
Mouth?
still listening to Smash Mouth?
Yes. I love Smash Mouth.
Yeah, we all love Smash Mouth.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me.
Anyway, Jessica, please keep doing this.
Don't ever stop. Also, maybe slow down on how much you're listening to our show. It's not healthy.
No.
But thank you. And also keep downloading it. Great email, Tim, which wasn't an email, but that's okay. That brings us to music news of the weird. Would you like to go first or would you like me to?
I would like to go first.
All right.
My first story is we should really have accepted Drake's offer to do a series of collabos over the past 3 years instead of this show news. Drake has been named by Billboard as the top artist of the 2010s. He has had, in this time period, 9 number 1 albums, 6 number 1 singles, as well as 45 top top 10 songs and 232 charting songs.
Yeah, no, he's very good at making pop music.
232. He's written if you had told me Drake wrote 232 songs in the 2010s, I would say that alone is impressive.
It is hard to understand how that's possible.
Yeah, but he beat out Taylor Swift, Adele, Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber, and Katy Perry, all of whom were in the top 10 artists of the 2010s. And again, we should really, really see if he's still interested in working with us, Garrett.
Oh, he won't even return my calls.
Ugh, but our apartment is so hot. The AC does nothing with the hole in the wall. We still haven't completely cleaned out the old studio after the unpleasantness with the old batch of interns. I think
Tim, I might have a solution to all of that, but you're going to have to wait.
Okay, I know what you're going to say. You released a gaggle of crocodiles in the building to clean up the corpse mess. I think Drake can give us the fresh start we're looking for, is my point.
While what you said is not necessarily untrue, I certainly wasn't going to say it.
That's fair. Also notable, Uptown Funk is the number one song of the 2010s, and Adele's 21 is the number one album of the decade. Garrett, what music news of the weird do you have?
Well, Tim, Van Morrison has a new double album out.
Ugh. A volume 1, isn't it?
Yeah, latest record project, volume 1. Sadly, none of his controversial quarantine tracks can be found on this album. But that does not mean the album is without controversy, because it has song titles like this: Where Have All the Rebels Gone? Why Are You on Facebook? And
I mean, that's
possibly the least hard to decipher and most damning, and this is not a joke. Everybody, turn up your volume. This is a song on Van Morrison's new double LP, They Control the Media.
Awesome. So he's just a crazy person.
Yeah, your drunk uncles and grandfathers can look forward to the new album out now. Pick it up at your local record store. Tim, what else you got?
In Garrett weirdly knows Donald Glover news, Garrett's close personal friend Donald Glover is being sued for copyright infringement over his 2018 song This Is America. Apparently a bunch of people thought it sounded like 2016's American Pharaoh, but Jace Harley is not the one suing him. Rather, it's Kid Wes, a guy that sounds like he was nicknamed by me, suing Mr. Gambino, saying Childish's song is unmistakably substantially similar, if not practically identical, to his own 2010 track Made in America. I listened to both. I don't think Donald Glover's going to have to shell out any money.
No, I think he's fine. I think it's a waste of everybody's time. Yep. And you know he doesn't like it when you call him Childish or Gambino.
Well, right. That's why Donald's he's your friend, not mine.
Yeah, that's why all my friends are not your friends.
Well,
McConaughey won't even come to the door anymore. You know what he thinks your name is?
Don't.
That really weird dude that just talks my ear off every time.
But I love McConaughey.
You're that really weird dude. That's not good.
That's super hurtful, especially coming from him.
Especially
I respect
for
him so much.
He is a really weird dude.
And he's a super laid back dude. You'd think that he would be... Ugh, fucking... I'm not voting for you, McConaughey.
You're not missing out on some aspects. Like, lovely man. Absolutely lovely. Friend of the family. He is a little preachy when you get in the car. If I have to hear one more top of the dome soliloquy about his leather stitching, I'm gonna scream.
Does he do the whole Lincoln commercial in the car?
Every time. Oh, here's the thing, Tim. At least in the commercial, he's got writers or a director, or I don't know who's in charge there, but somebody's reining them in. With nobody there, it's just, you can tell he's vamping, and it's not great. Tim, what else you got?
That was my news, so what else you got, Garrett?
In I don't pay attention news, no. In all of our problems might be solved news, some lucky new inhabitants have purchased Phil Spector's L.A. castle, where he shot actress Lana Clarkson dead in 2003. For a mere $3.3 million, just 4 months after the disgraced producer's death, some lucky new tenant will be calling this place home. The proceeds will go to his third ex-wife. So, Tim, I'm not going to pretend to know who it could be, but somebody in desperate need of a rapidly growing empire and a West Coast headquarters may or may not have recently purchased the Southern-style, quote, Pyrenees Castle, a 10,590 square foot gated chateau where they will be setting up shop.
Interesting. Well, if it wasn't you, let's funny games that guy.
Jesus Christ. You've got to stop saying that out loud. Tim, any other news?
I have one more story. In Rivers Cuomo isn't in Japanese prison yet news, Weezer has released a new album called Van Weezer. It is their 15th studio album, and they think it has that classic rock sound. I haven't heard it, but I'm pretty concerned I'm going to have to hear it soon, and I just really don't want to.
Real soon.
And here's the thing. This is their second album this year. Their first album was a Baroque pop or chamber pop or whatever album released in January. It was apparently Harry Nilsson inspired. What? You need to fight Rivers Cuomo.
I will happily fight you, Cuomo.
Yeah,
Show us your wife, Miss Gavage. Sorry.
She is in prison, though. Ship prison.
She's dead. She's
Sea
probably
prison.
dead.
Oh, yeah. That'd be easier. Yeah, so we're going to do more Rivers Cuomo music. I think we should do...
Pinkerton?
Yeah, I think we should do Pinkerton because...
Yeah, listen, we can do Pinkerton. It's the better, weirder album, or we can do Van Weezer and have a good time.
I'll tell you what. Let's do Pinkerton one week and then Van Weezer the very next week.
Have we only done Ratitude?
Yeah.
Oh.
We owe it to do something that people think is good because it's not good.
I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I remember
did too.
now some triangle business that might be a little offensive.
Oh, yeah. Pink Triangle. That's some good stuff. It's not.
No.
The Butterfly song is also delightful. Garrett, what other news do you have for us today?
In what can only be termed as a trend officially dying news, Walmart has announced it will be hosting its first official online Vinyl Mania Week beginning Monday, May 10th, with exclusives and limited editions of vinyl records for music fans of all genres. The 5-day event on walmart.com/vinyl-records. Great job, Walmart. Just make it vinyl. Anyway, will include color vinyl discs from artists such as Machine Gun Kelly, Johnny Cash, Halsey, Post Malone, Keith Urban, Kiss, Frank Sinatra, and John Denver. Literally all the artists that people collectively agree are the ones that should be owned on vinyl. What in the absolute fuck is this?
I think you said it best. When Walmart has this, vinyl will not be a thing in 10 years.
No, probably less than that. I think it puts it at 5. Thank God, Tim. Do you remember when we were just sad, lonely boys living in Dallas, Texas, outside of Good Records on this bizarre record store day?
Oh, yeah. Walked right in.
Dude, walked right in and got all the fucking shit we could possibly want and walked out in an hour.
We got more than we would want because I tricked you into buying a bunch of Flight of the Conchords singles.
Yeah. I also have South Park Gay Fish. I don't know if you were responsible for that as well.
I don't know. I'd like to claim responsibility, though.
I actually kind of like that one. It's a picture disc. It's got Kanye on it. It's pretty funny. Any other news, Tim?
Nope.
Great. That brings us to Tim, what you're about to tell the listener is going to hurt my heart tremendously. And we're about to strap in for a very difficult week. Not Lulu.
Oh,
difficult.
I thought you were announcing we were ending the show.
No.
That's what it sounded like. Hurt your heart.
No.
The listener.
No. I just meant we're gonna do somebody dirty. We're gonna take somebody beloved and put their worst on Front Street.
Oh, yes. Yeah, sorry. We are going to do that.
This never ends.
God damn it. I want it to end.
Never, Tim. Not till I make my run.
Oh, all right.
Great. Tim, what album are we going to be listening to for an entire week straight and coming back here to make witticisms about?
We will be listening to Chris Cornell's Scream.
Not familiar, kids? Don't worry, you will be. And if you're not, strap the fuck in. This album answers the question, what if Chris Cornell did a hip-hop album?
Yes.
Not quite that bad. Really more of a, what if Chris Cornell did a bunch of Britney Spears songs?
Also, yes.
But like not enjoyable because it's not like he's singing Toxic. He's just singing the ones that she thought weren't good enough to go on Toxic.
Yes.
Tim, it's so bad.
Okay.
I assume you've never heard it.
I've heard some song. I've heard the song that Justin Timberlake's on for some reason. What I've heard of it is not good, and what I've heard about it is not good. So I'm pretty excited.
Well put. All right. Great work this week, Tim. We really did the heavy lifting. I hope everybody appreciates it and donates to the Patreon that doesn't exist yet, but will. So keep the wallets ready. Until then, you can just simply get on the old Apple Podcast app. However it is you can access that. Rate, review, subscribe. Even if you don't listen through there, that's the best thing you can possibly do for us because I don't know that you can rate us anywhere else. If you can, if you're on Spotify and there's a way to do that, do that. But the reviews help. throw the 5 stars in there, get weird with it. As Tim's noted this week, if your comment's strange enough or a deep cut or a good reference, we'll feature it here on a Prepisode. We're always combing through there, not because we have fragile egos, but because we're looking for those fun, weird ideas that you guys bring to the show. Tell us about putting all your genitals inside other genitals. We want to hear about it. So go out there, throw the 5 stars up there, get those out of the way, and then get strange. You can also reach out to us by going to hatepod.com and clicking on contact us in the upper left-hand corner. It does ask for an email address, but that's just so we can reply, and we do it. It takes us a minute, but we'll get to it, and all of you seem surprised when we do. I end the show every week by telling you we will reply, and then when we do, you guys freak out and go, oh my God, I can't believe you actually replied. I told you I was going to.
It might take a while, though.
Yeah, might take a minute. You can also just email us directly using the old email machine at hatepodmail@gmail.com. Pretty simple, right? hatepodmail@gmail.com. We want to hear from you, of course. We haven't gotten any song submissions in quite some time. It saddens me that with all the music fans we have, that we have yet to get some folks that really get in there, chop it up, get in there with some digital music tools, sample, remix, auto-tune, turn us into your art. God knows we need it. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at @AlbumHatePod or on Instagram at HatePod. You can find Garrett at GHarveyTweets. You can find Tim on Instagram, but it's a private account, so why bother? You can also go to Facebook.com/HatePod, but we will not reply to you there because we lost the password and we're not 80, so who cares, right? Get on Instagram, get on Twitter, get on Facebook, or whoops, not that one. Get on your fucking email. Slide into them DMs. We'll have a weird conversation. A few guys have been reaching out lately, and we've talked about all manner of strangeness, and it's fun. So you can also join our Discord server, though I have no idea how, so don't ask me. Ask somebody else, however that works. I don't know. If you know,
Ask
if you're
Dan.
listening and you know. Yeah, Dan, tell people how to do that. I think most people don't know how to do that. They ask me and I say, I don't know, ask Dan. So Dan, figure it out or help people figure it out. Anyway, we got subreddits where people talk about the show. I don't go out there much because why would I? I'm not going to go out there and talk about the show there, but I think that's about it. Tim, did I leave anything out?
Nope.
Great. For Why I Hate This Album, I have been one of your hosts, Garrett Harvey.
I have been the West Campus Strangler.
Knew it.
I strangled them all, of course.
Oh my God. Why now in this format have you chosen to divulge this? And what do I do with this? Am I legally responsible now?
There's cowboys running through my dreams. Nothing's quite the way it seems. I joined the Navy, got kicked out in a week. My facial features aren't distinct. Try to find some meaning in these songs. The genius is a genius, got it wrong. No, it's a lobster murder sex thing. It's the bleaching of the rear. A full assault on both your ears. The riffs are too repetitive. The lyrics make no sense. All the songs are B-sides. The cover art's a mess. Listen to it for a week. Now that week has passed. It's the Why I Hate This Album podcast with Tim and Gary.